When you're in a lecture, it can be hard staying focused and engaged, let alone writing down all the things you need to remember. Let me show you how to manage this with some simple note-taking skills. Welcome to the Field Guide to Study. If you want to study better, or you don't study, and you want to start somewhere, note-taking is an important skill to build. That's because notes have excellent study potential. They have a high learning yield without taking much effort. To get that yield, to really truly remember information, notes shouldn't focus on writing everything down. They should make you think. Imagine you're in a lecture, you're listening, you're paying attention, you're thinking, I get it, this makes sense to me. Time passes, it's a week later, you try and remember what happened in that lecture, and nothing. It's gone. You didn't do anything wrong. This is just how cognition works. It's human nature to forget most of what you hear in a lecture. How do you fix this? You start by taking your own notes. There are many different styles of note-taking, basic, complicated. In my job as a learning advisor, I've seen every note style imaginable. So, let me tell you about a style of note-taking that's easy and logical, and most importantly, forces you to think, no matter what. It's the informal outline style. Why the name? It's informal because you don't have to plan much in advance, and it's an outline because it builds structure as you write. The goal is not to write everything down. The goal is to create a skeleton of knowledge that, if necessary, you flesh out later. Outline notes work because they make you think conceptually. They focus on themes or big ideas rather than facts. Understanding the big ideas work better if you can potentially fit your notes into a study plan. Let's use a lecture as an example. Think in 3 steps: before the lecture, during the lecture, and after the lecture. In other words, preparation, contact, and revision. This is the classic study triad. Let's go step by step. There are lots of ways you can prepare before a lecture, but the simplest is skimming over handouts, lecture notes, and pre-readings before. The key is, don't try to understand everything straight away. This is the commonest preparation mistake I see students make. You pre-read for the big picture to identify the most important themes, not to learn facts. That comes later. You are building a mental scaffold to organize information in your head before you take any notes at all. Preparation starts highlighting structure, and you use that to make note-taking in the next phase easier. Contact is where you take notes. Don't make the mistake of relying on handouts pre-written by someone else, because this is nowhere near as effective. Remember, the goal for informal outline is to create structure as you write, because structure builds understanding. It helps you remember information better in the long run. So how do you write structured notes? Use classic dot points as you go, leaving space in your notes so you can expand on them later. Be visual. Draw mind maps of ideas and themes. Show structure with arrows, diagrams, and tables to explore concepts. Prioritize keeping up with the person talking rather than writing down every fact. That applies to recordings too. Don't worry if you miss something small. It's better to fill factual gaps later, not while you're building structure. Avoid doing both at the same time. Structure can be difficult to capture, especially if lectures are confusing or overwhelming, or both. If you find yourself stuck identifying structure, the advice I always give is to think in terms of questions. Any questions. Start with who, what, where, when, why, and how if necessary. Then write the questions down as notes. The idea is the more specific the questions you generate, the better. Don't worry about the answers now. You can use these questions later to resolve structure. Notes serve you best if you come back and revise. Taking notes is a good idea. They force cognitive engagement, especially if lectures are boring. But if you want maximum yield, you must use your notes in revision. The key to revision isn't amount, it's timing, when it happens. There are 2 good times to review notes. First, review your existing notes before the next lecture. 5 minutes, 30 seconds. This links themes between lectures. Then, look at material for the upcoming lecture. It's a cycle of themes, a cycle that helps you keep up with course content. The second good time to review your notes is 24 to 48 hours after you take them. It's good practice and increases the rate at which information sticks in your memory. Revision doesn't need to be intensive. Rereading notes is okay, but ideally, transform them. Make summaries, draw mind maps, answer questions. You'll learn faster, as transforming notes forces you to think about them. The more you think, the deeper the learning, the better the revision. What's our takeaway from all of this? 1. Take notes that give you structure as you write. 2. Take notes that make you think. And 3. Take notes you can use for revision. And remember, try and fit your notes into the study triad. First, preparation, pre-reading and pre-organizing, the scaffold. Second, contact, keeping up with the lecturer and building broad structure as you write. Third, revision, coming back to your notes a day or two later. In the end, it's not just the writing, it's the thinking, because that's what all study is. It's fancy thinking. With notes, like a lot of study, it's the process that matters, not the end product. Remember, take notes even if you're overwhelmed. Keep up with classes, you'll stay on top of it no matter what.